Picture this. It's 1985. Ronald Reagan is president. A gallon of gas costs about $1.20, and a company in Seattle starts selling a hot dog and a soda together for $1.50. Fast forward to today. Gas is what? $5 a gallon depending where you live? Rent's doubled. Eggs briefly cost more than a used car during the shortage. And that hot dog combo? Still $1.50. Not $1.50 plus tax. Not $1.50 plus tax now. Still $1.50. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Costco actually loses money selling you that hot dog. Every single one. On purpose. For almost 40 years straight. Now ask yourself something. Why would a company that answers to shareholders, that gets grilled every quarter about margins and earnings, deliberately keep bleeding cash on a $2 meal deal instead of just raising the price like everyone else does? Once you understand the answer to that, you'll understand why Costco doesn't really operate like a normal store at all. And by the end of this video, you'll know the one rule this company has never broken, and the one time it almost did. Most people think Costco just showed up one day, fully formed, warehouse and all. It didn't. And the real origin story is honestly kind of messy. There's a guy named Saul Price. Back in the 1950s, he built a discount chain called FedMart. It did well enough that he sold a chunk of it to a German retail company. Big mistake. They pushed him out of his own business a few years later. So what does he do? He doesn't retire. He doesn't sue and disappear. He goes and builds an almost identical idea from scratch. A members-only warehouse called Price Club opened in San Diego in 1976. Sell stuff in bulk, keep the margins razor thin, let volume do the heavy lifting. Now here's where it gets interesting. Working under Saul Price at the time, learning the whole playbook from him directly, was a young guy named Jim Sinegal. He'd literally started as a bagger years earlier. And in 1983, Sinegal didn't stick around to inherit Price Club. He left, teamed up with a guy named Jeffrey Brotman, and opened a competing warehouse in Seattle called Costco, running the exact same formula as his old mentor. Mentor and student. Same idea, now competitors. That tension is going to matter later. When Costco opened, it made itself one promise, and this is the part most people have no idea about. No item, ever, gets marked up more than 14 to 15% above what it cost Costco to get it. Not most items. Not unless it's a slow week. Every single product, capped. For context, a normal department store is marking things up 50%, sometimes way more. Costco basically tied one hand behind its back before it even opened. So how do you make money running a business that refuses to make money off the actual products? You don't charge for the stuff. You charge for the door. That's the whole trick. The membership fee isn't some side hustle bolted onto the business. It basically IS the business. Everything on the shelves is just the reason you keep paying that fee every year. And it worked stupidly fast. By 1985, 2 years in, Costco already had 17 stores, went public, and had blown past the fastest growing company record in American history. 0 to $3 billion in sales in under 6 years. Not fastest retailer, fastest company, period. Fast forward to the early 90s. Price Club and Costco are now direct rivals, basically fighting over the same cities with the same playbook. Normally in business, that ends with one side swallowing the other and erasing the name. Instead, in 1993, they merged as equals. Price Costco, student and mentor, back under one roof. It didn't stay friendly for long. Saul Price walked away from the merged company within about a year, reportedly not thrilled with where things were heading. By 1997, they dropped Price completely. Just Costco Wholesale from here on out. Around this same window, Costco quietly launches something that looks minor but ends up being one of the smartest moves in retail history. Kirkland Signature, its own private label. On paper, just a store brand. In reality, it's how Costco kept that 15% ceiling alive even as costs kept climbing. Cut out the middlemen, control your own supply chain, protect the promise. By the 2000s, Costco's the third biggest retailer on the planet. No commercials, no loyalty points, no flash sale, 40% off. Just that one rule, locked in place, and millions of people happily paying an annual fee to shop at what is, structurally, a giant concrete box. Okay, here's the part of the story where the math and the philosophy actually collide. 2008 Costco's CEO at the time, Craig Jelinek, walks into a meeting with founder Jim Sinegal. Costs have crept up so much that the hot dog combo, same $1.50 since '85, is now flat out losing money on every sale. Jelinek wants to raise it. feels like the obvious call. Sinegal's response has basically become retail folklore at this point. If you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. Figure it out. Read between the lines there for a second. That's not just stubbornness. That's the entire philosophy of the company in one sentence. The promise to the customer matters more than protecting margin on any one item, even when the spreadsheet says otherwise. So Jelinek had to actually go figure it out. Costco stopped buying hot dogs from an outside supplier and built its own meat plants in the US just to hold that price. When Coca-Cola wouldn't match the deal Costco needed for the fountain drinks, Costco dumped Coke entirely and switched to Pepsi. Ended a decades-long brand relationship over pennies per cup just to keep a $1.50 promise intact. That's the breaking point, not a scandal, not a lawsuit. A hot dog that forced the entire company to rebuild parts of its supply chain rather than bend its own rule. Here's the thing about "we'll never raise the price." It sounds like a fun marketing line until you realize somebody has to actually pay for it. Building meat processing plants isn't cheap. Cutting a supplier relationship over one product is risky. And running nearly your entire store at close to cost margins means the whole company's survival hinges on one single number. How many people renew their membership every single year? That's Costco's real weak spot. Not high prices, trust. The moment people stop believing that fee is worth it, the whole structure, hot dog included, starts to wobble. Costco isn't perfect, and a few of its moves have quietly flopped. International expansion into places that just didn't have a bulk buying culture. Closures in markets like the UK. Online shopping lagged behind Amazon and Walmart for years because Costco's whole identity was built around walking through a physical warehouse, not clicking add to cart. And more recently, its own generosity backfired a little. For years, non-members could sneak food court items, including the famous hot dog, without paying for membership, thanks to loose enforcement at outdoor windows. In 2024, Costco shut that down, requiring an active card even at the food court. Small policy, big signal. It exposed the tension sitting under this whole brand, built on being generous, but eventually forced to start guarding that generosity just to keep the lights on. Here's where this stops being a quirky retail story and starts explaining a pattern you'll suddenly notice everywhere once you see it. Membership money is the real engine here. In one recent quarter alone, Costco pulled in over $1 billion from membership fees. And that money, almost pure profit after basic overhead, makes up roughly 65% of the company's net income. Read that again. The groceries basically break even. The membership fee is the actual business. Sound familiar? It should. Amazon Prime doesn't make Amazon rich because shipping is free. Prime makes Amazon rich because you pay for the subscription itself, while the shipping and streaming perks run at cost or below just to keep you locked in. Gyms, streaming platforms, software. Same math, over and over. Sell the core thing cheap, make the real money on the recurring fee. And the hot dog itself isn't really about hot dogs. It's a visible, checkable promise. Proof, every time you walk in, that the company hasn't quietly started squeezing you. Compare that to companies that raise prices in tiny invisible increments or shrink the bag of chips instead of touching the price tag. Costco figured out that one loud, unbroken promise builds more trust than 1,000 quiet savings you'd never notice anyway. One more thing worth sitting with. Costco has paid its warehouse workers noticeably more than the industry average for years, and it has far lower turnover than most big box competitors. That's not charity. Lower turnover means lower hiring and training costs and better service without babysitting employees. The wage decision and the hot dog decision come from the exact same brain. Give up a little margin now, buy years of trust later. 3 things, if you take nothing else from this video. First, the membership fee is the business. The hot dog, the low prices, the giant tub of cashews, all of it exists to make you feel like that annual fee was worth paying again. Second, that 15% markup rule wasn't a slogan. It was a wall the company built around itself on day one, and everything since, Kirkland Signature, the meat plants, all of it, was engineered to survive inside that wall. Third, trust is the actual product. Costco doesn't really sell groceries. It sells the belief that it will never quietly take advantage of you. And that belief turns out to be worth more than any single quarter's profit. But here's the uncomfortable part. Every company that's ever built its whole identity around one unbreakable promise eventually hits the day where the math genuinely stops working. Costco held the line in 2008, held it through inflation, through supply shocks, through a global pandemic. But the pressure never actually went away. It just keeps building underneath. That same 15% ceiling that made this company trustworthy is the exact same ceiling that could one day force an impossible choice: break the promise or break the business. The hot dog survived every test so far. The real question is whether it survives the next one. If stuff like this, the hidden economics behind brands you use every week, is your kind of thing, subscribe, because there's way more of these hiding in plain sight. And drop this in the comments. You think that $1.50 hot dog makes it another 10 years? I'll pin whoever makes the best case.